All right, we're going to talk today about functions. So, a function, definition of a function, is that it is a relationship that assigns exactly one output value to each input value. Assigns And we've already worked with things that are like functions a lot. And we've graphed and we've done things like y equals something with x, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. All right, so a function rule is just an equation that describes a function. So we're just going to get these two definitions into our notes and then we'll discuss them, okay? So let's say we have this scenario of deposits, okay, like bottle deposits. So a lot of states have a 5-cent deposit on their cans. And so we can, so that you have to, you know this because we do this in Michigan, you have to pay a deposit on your cans when you buy things at the store. And the amount of deposit that you pay depends on how many cans of soda you buy, for example. So that's a situation where we can describe that relationship with a function rule. So I could say that the total deposit is going to equal, so for other states it's 5 cents. I could say it's going to equal 5 cents times the number of cans bought. So if I told you about 20 cans of soda, then you know already that you would do that 5 cents times 20, and you would find out that you'd be paid $1 in a deposit. Okay, so we're very familiar with equations like this. This can be expressed as a function. It's all going to be the same thing. It's just the way that we write it is going to change a little bit. So we are going to just change the words total deposit. I'm going to make that into a D for deposit. And I'm going to change this. I'm going to take away the dollar sign and just make it 0.05 times C, which C represents the number of cans. Okay, so going back to our definition of function, it's a relationship that assigns exactly one output value to one input value. D here is going to be our output. It's what we pay. It's what we end up with. And it's dependent on our input, our number of cans. So to solve for this, I could make a chart. And I can put my number of cans here. And I can put my total deposit here. And then I could figure out for some values how much I might pay in a deposit. So if I had 6 cans, how much would my deposit be? Well, what you do is you do 0.5 times 6, and it's 30 cents. So you're going to pay 30 cents. If you had, let's say, a dozen cans, what would your deposit be? It would be double that, right? Because 6 is double 12, or you could multiply it out. But either way, it's going to be 60 cents. And then if you buy 24 cans of soda, and the deposit is 5 cents a piece, your total would be $1.20, because again, you'd be taking that 5 cents and multiplying it by the input, by the number of cans purchased, and you end up with $1.20. So that's what a function is. You actually have done functions for a long time. We just haven't really discussed that that's what they're called, because we do problems like this all the time where you don't know amount that you have, and then I tell you the amount that you have, and then you have to solve for it. You were doing functions all along. You just didn't know it, but that's what they were called, okay? So I'm going to have you go ahead and do one on your own. I want you to pause the video and do this one. So now we know, well, we'll call this problem number 1. So for problem number 2, now let's solve for Michigan. So Michigan's deposit, as you well know, we have a 10-cent per can deposit, okay? So 10 cents per can. I want you to come up with a function rule. So remember, this is the function rule right here. Come up with a function rule for how much you're going to pay for a deposit in Michigan. And then I also want you to make a table. We have cans and then your deposit. And tell me how much you're going to pay for 5 cans, 10 cans, and 15 cans. So go ahead and pause the video, write out your function rule, and complete the table. And then restart to check your work. All right, so for your function rule, we always have to have the output first. It's going to be output equals something done to the input. Okay, so our output, once again, is going to be D, because it's going to be the deposit. And the deposit is going to depend upon 10 cents times the number of cans purchased. So so this is your function rule that you should have written out. Okay. And then to find out the deposit on 5 cans, you would be doing 1/10 times 5, which is 50 cents. And you can go through and keep multiplying, or you can just use logic as well. If 5 cans is 50 cents, then double that, it's going to be $1. And 15 cans is going to be 2 of those combined, so it'd be $1.50. Okay, and so that is how you create function rules.